Welcome to True You Ministries. I'm Stacy, a licensed pastoral counselor whose own journey has taught me the importance of having a safe place to discuss the harder issues of life. I'm so grateful that you've joined me this week. You can learn more about me and my heartfelt desire to help people much like yourself who may be at a place of pain and confusion by calling me at 626-461-3344. That's 626-461-3344. Or feel free to email me at info@trueyouministries.com. Now, sit back, listen, watch, and enjoy the show. And welcome back to True You Ministries. I have special guest Leslie Martinez. Welcome, Leslie. It's good to see you.
Yes, thank you, Stacy. I'm so excited to share with you. I mean, our first conversation was just amazing, and I just can't wait to share more.
Yeah, I love that. Our first episode, if you haven't watched it, I will share the link in the show notes for part 1. We were talking about goals. Some of the things we hit on was, what's the difference between goal setting and having a resolution? And I love that, one has intent, which is resolutions, and the other one has action steps to them, and that's goals. We also talked about, what could impede someone from actually, achieving their goals. And then Leslie, I know you touched a little bit on the SMART goals as a strategy to help people in goal setting. So what we want to talk about here in part 2 are some strategies. Maybe there's some technology and tools that you like to use for goal setting, and then some final thoughts as well on all of that. This will be a really great episode where all of you that are watching and listening, you'll be able to walk away with some practical tips. But if you want more, you make sure you reach out to Leslie, and we'll have her information at the end of the show. I'll also include them in the links in the show notes as well. So Leslie, let's recap for our audience today. What are the SMART goals, and then any other thoughts that you have around that?
Yes. Now, SMART goals stand for is your goal specific? Is it measurable?
Mhm.
Is it attainable? Is it timely? I'm sorry.
Relevant.
Relevant. I forgot. I'm like, I knew I forgot a letter in there. I'm so sorry. SMART goals, is it specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and kind of
Yes.
like relatable, right? And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
timely. I'm so sorry.
Right. That's all right.
Yes, we have to look at when we write our goals out. You got to put, it's almost like a math formula that you're putting in it.
Mhm.
That's what I call the SMART goal formula. It's a math formula that you're applying to it, because one way or another, you're going to have to throw some numbers in there also, because if it is measurable and it's timely, you're going to have to throw some type of numbers with the date and how to measure this by quantity, amount, pounds, whatever it is, right?
Right. Right.
So creating a goal into a SMART goal formula just breaks it down in a way that is actually attainable. Another thing that I actually want to talk about, at a method or a tool that I use when also writing a goal out. So you write your goal out in SMART goal formula, right? And I'm going to use a personal goal that I had made last year. And
Okay.
I had shared on the last episode, I'm really bad at self-promoting, but I created a journal last year, right?
I love
And
that.
this is a goal that God had put on my heart.
Yeah.
So I created a soap journal. Now, with that came a lot of to-dos, right? From just that one
Right.
goal became a lot. I made the
Right.
goal in January of last year that
Mhm.
I was going to create a soap journal, and I was going to have it launched by the end of 2025. I'm sorry, 2024.
Mhm.
And with that, I also not only had to make the goal of launching this and selling and doing all the things that came in with that, but I
Mhm.
also had to look at the terms of the goal. And this is something that I had
Mm.
learned from, his name is Brandon Burchard. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's written
Mhm.
books. He has a podcast. He's a
Mhm.
great coach. And
Mhm.
he referred to this thing as terms. And I'm like, I'm adapting this and I'm using it with my clients because this is just the next step. So now
Yeah.
you have a SMART goal. Okay. So I had a goal
Mhm.
to publish a soap journal in 2024. Now,
Mhm.
I had to look at what are the terms for this? And terms is an
Mhm.
acronym for what is the time, what is the energy, what are the resources, what is the money, and what is the sanity with this?
Oh,
So,
wow.
terms, energy, resource, money, and sanity. So, I have a
Mhm.
goal. Now
Hmm.
I have to look at what are the terms of this goal and does this actually can I make it work?
Right.
What is the time of this? What time is this gonna take away from my family? What time is this gonna take outside of my 9 to 5 kinda thing, right?
Mhm.
What
Right.
is the energy? That
Right.
time requires a certain amount of energy, and are you willing
Right.
to give that energy to it? What are the
Mhm.
resources? Who do you need? What do you need? Do you have those resources? Can you find the resources that you need? There's money.
Mhm.
How
Right.
for me, for the journal, like, so
Yeah.
for me, I knew what the time was. I'm like, "Look, I wanna create this journal by this amount of time."
Right.
For me, I had a hard date of October. It had to be, like, done and ready to send off to the printer and all of that, right?
Okay.
What was the energy? I had to give myself, "Okay, I have to devote this much time. What are my resources?" I had no idea what I was doing. I
Right.
had a little bit of an idea what I was doing, but to, like, getting it printed overseas, working with overseas vendors, I
Mm.
sought out a resource. I
Mhm.
paid for a basically a mastermind of someone who creates Christian printed products, and
Okay.
I looked for her as a resource, right? That's what
Right.
you have to
Right.
look, what resources do we need? I chose to
Mhm.
invest in my resource, and then you go to
Mhm.
the money. I had to
Mhm.
invest in my resource, and
Mhm.
what money is it gonna take? I'm creating a product that I need to invest in. Do I have
Right.
money for that? And then
Right.
what is the sanity of it all?
Yeah.
What is it gonna cost me? What is it gonna cost my mental, emotional, spiritual health, all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you not only have the SMART goal, but you have to consider the terms of what it takes. And when you can look at both of those, and this is the thing, Stacy, people don't take the time to go that in depth with their
No.
goals.
No.
So, what I say is that if you can't take the time to put it in a SMART goal kind of, formula, if you can't sit and spend enough time to figure out what the terms are, then this goal
Mhm.
is valuable enough for you. This goal
Wow.
is not something that you want to achieve. So then
Right.
just put it off already. It's
Yeah.
not the time for you to do that.
Right.
Goals that you will find success in, you're gonna put the time to even just do those 2 steps.
Yeah.
So that is something that when you are goal setting, you have to put those 2 into place to
Yeah.
know, "Hey, is this something that I'm really invested in?"
Yeah. I like that. It reminds me of something that my husband keeps saying. He says, "You will find the time for whatever is a priority for you." Because
Yes.
we all have the same amount of time every single day.
Yes.
We each use that time differently.
Yes.
And so if this is something, and I love how you incorporate the Lord in this, right? So if this is something that the Lord has put on your heart, I know for me, when I look at my calendar sometimes, and I don't like overbooking and I don't overbook, but
Mhm.
sometimes I don't have the energy for whatever it is that's on my
Yes.
calendar. And the Lord knows that. And He moves things off my calendar. Appointments get canceled, not
Mhm.
on my end, but on someone else. And I'm going, oh, thank you, Lord. You knew I needed rest today. But it's inviting Him also into that process. If
Yes.
He has called you to it, He will make sure that you have the time and the energy and the resources and the money and the sanity in order to do it. But if it's something that's maybe coming from you and you haven't really consulted the Lord on it, let's just say, or
Mhm.
talked with the Lord about it or prayed into it, you're really not going to have the passion for it, are you?
Yeah.
And so I like what you're like, then just put it away. That's not the
Mhm.
goal for you.
It's not the season, and sometimes you
Yeah.
can have a goal that you had shared. previously, Stacy, that God had told you were going to be a counselor when you were about 18 years old, right? But
Yeah.
it took so
Yeah.
long for you to get there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like at 18 years old, this probably isn't going to be the year that you're going to hit that goal,
No.
Stacy. But it's a desire, right? That God puts in your heart. You start working towards it. So
Yeah.
and it's not necessarily that you aren't going to achieve that goal. It's that there's so much work involved in that
Yeah.
goal that you're
Right.
just going to have to like take little steps and you're going to have to be okay with that, right?
Right.
If
Right.
when you're young and you think about the career that you want to go into, I think of these poor students. I've taught high school. I have
Uh-huh.
a son that's in college, a son that's in high school right now. He's in his junior
Uh-huh.
year, but I remember
Yeah.
talking to both of my boys about, what do you want to major in for school?
Mhm.
What
Mhm.
realm or field do you want to go into? And my kids started thinking of, well, Mom, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I don't know if I want to do this or that. And I had to change their mindset about that. And I said, look, whatever you go to school for, like there are certain careers that, yeah, like if you want to be a doctor, like,
Um,
you're going to have to stick through that. Like, okay, there's so much education involved in that if you want to
right.
be a doctor, you want to make sure that you're going to be a doctor. Okay.
Right.
But I need you, or if you're going to be a lawyer, right? There are
Mhm.
certain careers that
Mhm.
require so much schooling and commitment that
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, you better go in knowing damn well that you're going to be a
Yeah.
doctor or a lawyer or whatever it is.
Right.
But then there's like, okay, if you know you're not going to be a doctor or a lawyer or a psychiatrist, one of those types of fields, then I
Mhm.
need you to just look at, what is the next season for you?
Yeah.
And oftentimes people are thinking so far ahead that it scares them and they think they have to
Right.
commit. Like,
Right.
I have to commit my whole life. I mean, think about
Mm.
going to school to be a lawyer or a doctor. You have to
Right.
commit
Right.
such a long time. And it's people are scared to commit, Stacy. We know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we do.
So
Yeah.
we don't look at, sometimes like you just need to look at the next season. Like when I went to
Right.
school, I changed my major twice. I went in with the intent of actually being a teacher at first. I wanted to be a biology teacher.
Mm.
Class, I failed, Stacy. College biology? Good Lord. And it was one of those like classes where there was like 200 people in it and your
Oh,
grade was based off of the midterm and the final. Like,
oh,
and that
Lord.
so
Oh.
I failed epically. I had to take the test over again, and I reevaluated my whole life of like, I don't want to be a teacher. I can't be a teacher because
Right.
I thought the only subject that I wanted to teach was biology,
Biology.
not
Right.
realize that. So then I went into English and
Mm.
I started working towards English. I actually was very close to finishing my degree, but then I feel like I had a God shift in that
Mm. Mhm.
where, God shifted and was like, "Nope, this isn't what you're going for, Leslie." And
Mm.
at the time, I didn't know that it was a God shift. As I'm older and
Right.
wiser now, I realized that God changed my path for a reason.
Yeah.
I love English. I love to write. I love to
Yeah.
read. It just made sense, right?
Mhm.
But I basically got my minor in English, but God shifted where I went and this is how it shifted. I took a psychology class, which was just one of my
Mm.
GEs, right? I took a
Right.
psychology class and I took it on like during the summer. So I wasn't even at my university. I was at the local community college taking the
Mhm.
psychology class during a summer break so I could
Yeah.
catch up. And I
Mhm.
absolutely loved my
Oh,
psychology class. I
awesome.
loved it. I was
Yeah.
like, I want to learn more about the brain. I want to learn more about individuals. I was just so fascinated with it. And I remember
Mhm.
going and talking to my counselor, and I was considering at this time, I'm like, I think I want to change my major. Like, I think I want to go into some type of counseling or therapy or, therapist work or something. And I sat down with
Right.
my counselor and he started asking me questions about what I loved about psychology, why I wanted to switch. And he was showing me the path of the classes I'd have to take and stuff. And I was kind of a
Mhm.
little taken back and I was like, ooh. And then he shifted my perspective and said, look, have you ever considered sociology? And I'm like, what's
Mm.
sociology?
Mhm.
Like, look, it's basically psychology, but this you're studying groups, you're
Groups.
studying
Right.
communities, you're studying,
Right.
certain types of groups.
Yeah.
And I'm not a introvert, I'm a very extroverted
Mhm.
person. So I kind of felt that psychology was more structured for an introvert
Yeah.
versus sociology, which is more for an extrovert, which was
Sure.
me. So
Yeah.
then I winded up going into sociology with an emphasis
Mhm.
family and marriage, wanting to go into some type of counseling or therapy work. My senior year, I sat in on a therapy session and I
Mm.
realized I don't want to do this.
Uh-huh.
I went back to
Yeah.
teaching.
Yeah.
When I got out of
Wow.
school, I did ministry for 10 years and then I got
Wow.
back into teaching, right? And
Mm.
just how God took me this full circle of
Yeah.
doing all of this, right?
Yeah.
And here I
Yeah.
kind of shelved my sociology major thinking that I'm not going to come back to it as a life coach. Like,
Hello. I know.
okay, God,
Yeah. Yeah.
full circle here
Yes.
where I get it. But
Yeah.
I needed to do ministry work for a season. I was working with kids. I was a children's pastor working with kids. That took me into the classroom. So, and even going before that, when I was in college, I worked in the community sector, right? I worked for
Sure.
local cities. I was a recreation leader, running programs,
Mm.
all of that, running
Wow.
special
Wow.
events. And
Wow.
everything that I look at my path has
Yeah.
given me the experience. You know, you had kind of read a lot of it in my
Yeah.
intro, but
Yeah.
because it has brought me to have the wisdom and the knowledge that I have now through the
Yeah.
experience, it didn't all make
Yeah.
sense when I was there. It
No, right.
didn't make sense, and I'm sure you
Right.
can attest to it too,
Oh,
right? It
yes,
absolutely did
absolutely.
not make sense. But as
Right.
I
Right.
am here now sharing where God has brought me, the wisdom and the knowledge that I have now, I would not
Mhm.
be here if it wasn't for me first failing biology, then changing my major to English, then going to
Right. Right.
it just
Right.
all makes sense now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay."
Yeah.
And even
Yeah.
going back to where, like, okay, the plan was always to be a teacher. That
Yes.
was the plan, the heart was there. But again,
Yeah.
like, I thought I had to be a biology teacher, and going back to
Right.
the story I shared of Abraham, where we try to
Yeah.
take things
Yeah.
in our own hand,
I
and it
know.
just, like, it doesn't
Yeah.
work out, but God keeps getting us on the right track. He's like, "You
Yeah.
keep screwing
Yeah.
this up, but I'm gonna get you back on track," right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
that's kind of where I've been, and then now that
Yeah.
I'm here, I'm just like, wow, God,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and it just makes
Yeah.
sense now. Like I'm teaching right now. I'm teaching to
Absolutely.
your audience right now,
Right.
just in a
Right.
different way. I've
Yeah.
taken those traits and those characteristics of a teacher, what I had to do in a classroom. Classroom management is no joke. Like
Yeah.
teachers can rule the world. Put teachers in the White House. I'm sorry. Put teachers in the White House because they will run this country efficiently with systems in place and they will discipline those that don't align as they need to. I joke, I joke, I joke. But truly, teachers can run a full country. Like, put a
Yeah.
teacher in any situation and we will figure it out. And I
Right.
feel that that's what God has done. Jesus was
Yeah.
a teacher.
Yes,
He
he
went,
was.
he
He is.
taught, he did
Absolutely.
ministry, you know?
Right.
So,
Right.
uh, one, I want to encourage people to go out and teach. It is a career that not many people are going to school for anymore because there's so
Right.
much
Right.
that is out there that has changed. But
Yeah.
God has a plan for you. You just
Right.
have to trust it. You
Yeah.
just have to trust
Absolutely.
the plan.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it right there is that God has a plan for us, but we have to trust him. And so what we think our life is going to look like and what we're wanting to do, God is up there going, "Well, wait, hang on a minute." Because I was a psychology major. I switched to theater arts, okay? And I have a degree in theater and I spent 14 years in entertainment. And I was just so sick of what was going on and what I was seeing and what I was experiencing. And I just asked the Lord, make it really clear if you want me to get out of this business. And he did. He shut every single door. And then I said, okay, then what's next? And he landed me working for the headquarters of a particular church denomination in human resources. And I did that for 10 years. And then it was in that, it was the prompting to go back to school and it was
Mhm.
in counseling. So here's what I love about the Lord. Nothing is wasted in his
Oh,
economy.
yes.
Nothing.
Amen.
So he
Amen.
uses
Yes.
all of those experiences to fulfill the calling that he has placed on our lives, right?
Yes.
And so for those people that are currently watching and listening, if you have a passion for something, it's just on your heart, I say go for it, but invite the Lord in the journey because he will lead you. He will provide you with the resources, but you also have to learn patience in this as well, right? And that's a hard one. That is a hard one.
Yeah.
Just surrender it to him. Because here's the thing, it is coming from him. He put that in you. So
Yes.
trust him to fulfill it. Don't worry about when it's going to happen, but just know that it will happen. But you have
Yes.
to trust him. So I want to ask you about, and you talked about a little bit about we need to break things down, right, into
Mhm.
smaller, more actionable steps. I think there's this overarching goal, and people can get so overwhelmed, they don't know how to get there. But even in episode 1, when you were talking about, say, there's the goal of losing 30 pounds. Now, it's
Mhm.
not realistic to do that in 2 weeks. Is it more realistic to do that in a year? Absolutely. And then we break it down into in each month. But
Mhm.
then we can also break it down into a week, each week, and
Mhm.
then each day. What do I need to do? So, like with my clients, I will say to them, all right, what do you need to do each day? One thing, just one thing
Mhm.
that will help you with whatever it is that they're working on, right?
Mhm.
Don't come with a list of 15. You will never get going on that,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And you're going to look at it, you're going to feel so overwhelmed. So I always tell them, pick one thing,
Mhm.
do that for 30 days. You've now, right? It says it takes 30 days to create a habit, to have it become a habit. So you're not
Mhm.
thinking about it anymore. It's just natural. And then hit the next thing on your list, or what resonates for you as the next thing. So yeah, so let's talk about that, like with your clients, right? How do you help them break down their goals into smaller, actionable steps? What are some of the things that you tell them to start with?
Yes, kind of what you were touching upon, Stacy, is habits. A lot of our goals start in just the small everyday habits of
Right.
what we do, right? So
Hmm.
let's take the easy one, and this is a very common one. Everybody has a goal to lose some kind of weight, right? To
Right.
get
Right.
healthy or
Right.
whatnot. So if again, going back to this person that wants to lose 30 pounds in a year, okay, what are your habits? What are your daily habits right
Hmm.
now? So
Hmm. Hmm.
oftentimes I sit with the clients and I will ask them, give me your daily routine. What is your current today, right now, what does your daily routine look like? I literally
Right.
list out from wake up to when you go to sleep, from
Okay.
open your eyes to when you shut your eyes. What does
Hmm.
your day look like? What are the habits that, you know, get you there? And I will break it down. Okay, you wake up at 6. So between 6 to this time, what are you doing? We break down
Hmm.
every hour of their day of what are you doing?
Okay.
And then from there, okay, what are the habits that you need to create in order for you to achieve this goal? So, what are the habits
Right.
that you need to create to lose 30 pounds? So, you're
Uh-huh.
gonna change your eating habits, one.
Right. Hmm.
You're gonna have to get some exercise in. That's
Sure.
typically when you're losing weight, those are like the 2 main things, right?
Right.
Exercise
Right.
and your diet, okay?
Right.
So, whatever habits that they currently have in place that you see, well, clearly you don't have healthy habits in place because that's what got you to gain the 30 pounds, right?
Right.
One of the things that, especially with women right now, and I'm going to throw this out there because this is something that I have learned about myself, and this has a lot to do. I just want to throw this out because we are specifically talking about weight gain. Um,
Hmm.
so weight gain has a lot to do with what your diet is and your
Hmm.
exercise habits,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
also for us mid-age women, possibly could be in premenopause. Your hormones
Yes.
have a lot to do with weight gain also, okay?
Absolutely.
So that is something
Absolutely.
that I have thrown in and
Yeah.
I just wanna bring it up with this particular one that we were talking to, but
Right.
with
Right.
us women, our hormones, it's
Yeah.
also an emotional imbalance that we have, mental imbalance,
Correct.
physical, it comes in with a lot of things, so you have to consider that for the women, middle-aged women,
Right.
and I don't
Right.
even wanna say middle age because premenopause can start as early as your mid-30s. Um,
Correct.
so if you find yourself struggling physically, mentally, emotionally,
Mhm.
hormones evaluated also because that is a
Yeah.
factor. Okay. And
Right.
and I want to mention that because people do not consider that at all,
I
Stacy.
know.
And
I
that is a
know.
factor. You have to
Right.
consider what is your hormonal health right
Yeah.
now because that
Right.
has so much to do with
Right.
your
Yeah.
goals. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
you look at what are the habits and what are your hormone levels thinking? Because is that a factor to your weight gain currently,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
And then, okay, what habits can we put into place that you can list out in the terms?
Mhm.
And right, so we have this SMART goal, lose 30 pounds by the end
Mhm.
of by December 31st,
Mhm.
2025. Okay,
Mhm.
what are your terms for it? What is the time going to be? That probably requires weekly meal planning. Can you do that
Right.
in your week, right? It might
Right.
even require meal, not just planning, but meal prep also.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Do you have the energy to do that? Do you have
Right.
the resources and the money and the
Right.
sanity to do weekly meal planning or meal prep?
Right.
Do you
Right.
also do all the terms to what is the exercise going to look like for you? What do you need to start off doing? Do you currently have an exercise,
Routine.
habit in place? If
Mhm.
you do, okay, we need to evaluate it because we need to make
Mhm.
sure we're adding some cardio, some strength training stuff that's going to get you to lose that weight. If you don't
Right.
have any exercise plan at all, we need to start small. Let's just start with a 15-minute walk for the first 2 weeks. And then
Beautiful.
you
Yeah.
have to start small.
Right.
People
Right.
that want to lose weight, like, oh, I'm going to go hit the gym. I'm going to start doing an hour workshop. I'm going to sign up for a class. I'm going to do this. You're gonna kill yourself doing that, and you're gonna epically
True.
fail.
Right.
You have to
Right.
start
Right.
small. So,
Right.
and this is it, Stacy, people do not wanna take the time to do this,
I know. And
and that's where if you're not gonna take the time, then it's not
and
important to you.
I agree, and that is a absolute point right there, and one of the things that I tell my clients as well is it's about progress, not perfection.
Yes.
Right. We're going to look at, okay, so say for the first couple of weeks, you're incorporating the resistance training, whatever it is that you've decided that you want to incorporate, right? And I think one of the things that can help with the mindset, with the goals too, is knowing that if something isn't working, we need to reevaluate it. We need to look at, well, why is that not working? And what do we need to adjust here? That none of this is written in stone, right? Because
Mhm,
every single person is different. So,
mhm.
with my clients, if they don't have a daily routine where they're spending time in the Word, right, in the Bible, and they're reading and they're spending time in prayer, I tell them, look, an unrealistic goal is to say to me that you're going to spend 3 hours a day. Do you
Mhm.
have 3 hours a day
Yeah.
that you're going to do that? No,
No.
you're not going to do that. You won't even do it on the first day.
Yeah.
And so let's be realistic about this. So I tell them, do you have 5 minutes?
Mhm,
Even if it's 3 times a week, because
mhm.
even 5 minutes a day might seem like, oh my gosh, I feel overwhelmed,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So start off even slower so that because it's about consistency.
Yes, yes. And see, people think consistency looks that you have to give 100% every single day.
Oh,
That's
right.
not
No,
it.
no,
Consistency is just showing up. Even if you just can
correct.
give 10% one day, 50% another day, 80%
Right,
another day, 90,
right.
100, like you
Exactly.
we are not made to give 100% every day. I'm sorry,
No,
we're not.
no,
We
no.
cannot
Right,
do
right.
that. You may be able to do that for a certain period, but you are going to burn out fast. It is just
Absolutely.
a matter of being consistent is just showing up and giving what you have. It's giving what
Exactly.
you have when you can with what you have available to you. And
Right,
I think
right,
so many people just they want to go full out, right? They want to
right.
go, I'm going to do it. I have to go all out. And then another thing is that people compare themselves to someone who
Oh,
is further along.
that's
So
the worst.
you see that
Yeah,
like, oh, well, this
yeah.
person who's healthy and fit, she goes to the gym every day and she's taking, boot
Right,
camp and she's doing
right.
Pilates
Yeah,
and
yeah,
doing all of these things and they wanna start off like that because 'cause they're
right,
comparing themselves to who they want to be,
right.
which it's not a bad thing, like, it's a good goal
No,
to have an idea of, like,
yeah,
"Hey, I wanna look and feel like her." I don't like saying her as a person, like,
right,
but
right,
something,
right.
like, it is
Yeah,
good to have a goal of, like, "This is what I wanna aim for," you know?
right.
And that helps so much, but then people get caught in the comparison trap, and they think
Exactly.
that, "Hey, if this person is there now doing this, then I need to do that." you didn't see when they first started. Like,
It
and with social
right,
media,
right,
everybody
right.
just put their highlight reel out there, right? And not tell you what went on in the back to get there. And,
Well, and
we
then you
think of
wonder with some of those too, is that even real? Is
it,
that
right?
even them, right, you know?
Right? And you think of, like, these success stories of, like, "Oh, this person's an overnight success." No, there's
No,
very
no.
few actual overnight success stories.
Right, right.
We just were brought to this person's attention overnight, but
That's
they've been
right.
doing the dang thing for years. They just weren't
Right,
being recognized or seen
right.
for it. So,
Yeah,
it's important to know that everybody has to start somewhere, and
yeah.
that is one of the things. Comparison is the thief of joy, and it will
I agree.
quickly take the joy away from achieving a goal or getting there because you think, "Well, she's there, he's there. I
Right.
should already be there." You're comparing your journey
Yeah.
to someone else's, but that's not the journey that God called you on either.
Exactly.
God
Right.
called you on your own unique journey, and
That's
guess what?
right.
He may take you here, 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 before he gets you there.
Right, right. Yeah, that's when I tell my clients to stay in their lane. You
Yes,
know? Yeah, don't be looking at somebody else over there. That God's got them doing what he's got them doing over there. Stay in your own lane. It's
yes.
specific to you. So one of the things with my clients that I recommend to them if they're not in the word daily, if they're not reading the Bible, pray, the whole thing and I said, "Look, there's a wonderful app called the Bible app.
Mhm,
And you can set it up where they can send you the scripture of the day, right?
mhm.
You don't have to do anything.
Yep,
It sends you the scripture of the day. You look at it, you read it. It'll take you less than 5 minutes to read the scripture, and it's with you for the rest of the day that you can think about it. So
yes.
that is one of the tools that I really like recommending to my clients. Who, what's the easiest way to ease them into this if they don't have this discipline, right? So are there any apps or tools or resources that you like to recommend to your clients, right, for tracking and managing their goals?
Yes. Oh, Stacy, I have so many. I'm
Okay.
just gonna list my favorite, okay? I'm just gonna tell
Okay.
you my favorite because I literally have a list that I give out to my clients, and
Okay.
when I work with them, though, I kind of get a feel for their spiel of organization or kind of systems that would work best for them because you have your super
Okay.
type A personality like me
Right.
that loves
You know.
systems, organizations, yeah, and then you have your people that, like, just they're like, "A calendar? Like, what? What even is that?" Right? So, I have to get a feel of, like, knowing what systems, to help my clients put into place. We all
Mhm.
need a system, okay? I have 3 tools that I always recommend to clients that help you just to put your goals in perspective for you to
Mhm.
keep track of your goals, and that is MeisterTask. I
Mm.
absolutely love MeisterTask. It
Okay.
is a kind of like a project management tool, but I use it for my goals. I use it to keep track of my podcast. All my episodes are, like, organized in there. You can create a team on there. You can share with people. Businesses and organizations use it as kind of like a teams,
Mm.
as a
Okay.
project management. But you can get a free account and you can use it for free and you can create 3 projects in there, and I tell people, "Go and create your goals in there as one project." So, whatever your goals
Okay.
are for the year, whatever goals you are working on, if you wanna put your yearly
Mhm.
goals in there, if it's just a goal for a project you're working on, whatever, and you can list it out, you can set up reminders on there. It even has a stopwatch feature, which I thought is really cool, so you can
Wow.
time yourself on how long it actually takes you to work on something. I have
Wow.
a goal this year of actually writing a first draft of a book, and
Mhm.
I am using the stopwatch feature in there when I start writing because I wanna
Yeah.
make sure that I am writing at least, like, 2 to 3 hours a week. That's my
Okay.
commitment. Those are the
Right.
terms that I made for myself right now.
Right.
So I use
Right.
that stopwatch feature in there where I'm writing, "Okay, here's the stopwatch. Okay, I'm gonna stop here at 20 minutes because that's all I have." But my
Mhm.
goal is to make sure that I hit the 3-hour mark in there, okay? So
Mhm.
that is a great tool. Another tool that you can use is Asana
Mhm.
is another project management tool. I used to use that
Mhm.
a lot. That is kind of only paid now unless like I was grandfathered in on a free account. They no longer give the
Mhm.
free accounts.
Oh,
And
wow.
then
Okay.
yeah, and, but Asana is fabulous, and it's Asana, Asauna, and then
Okay.
there's Trello. Trello is another great tool to use that helps you keep everything organized, right?
Okay.
So those are kind of some different tools that you can use, and they're all app and web-based to help you just organize all of
Nice.
your goals and to break them down to help you to measure
Wonderful.
them. And I always encourage, do a weekly check-in. I have a
Mhm.
thing every Sunday evening at 7 PM. I have a hard stop from whatever it is I'm doing from the day. I plop myself on the couch with my paper planner and my digital planner with my computer and my
Mhm.
phone, and I plan the whole week out. I do
Okay.
meal planning. I will look at my calendar if I need to move stuff around. I physically wrap my brain around what do I have for the week, and I will go in and I will look at my Meister task. Where am I with the goals? How can
Mhm.
I take this goal, where can I plug it into my calendar for the week and work on it? And then make sure that you kind of check in with yourself. I update my goals weekly also to show
Mhm.
progress, and that way I keep aligning myself with the goals. Those are some great tools. And then there is a habit tracker app that I use. It's called Habit Tracker. There are
Okay.
tons of habit tracker apps out there. Figure
Mhm.
out the one that works best for you, and you can set up a
Right.
habit tracker to have reminders pop
Right.
up of that just the habits that you need to do.
Mhm.
You want to
Yeah.
create a morning routine, have it pop up like, hey, pray, journal, read Bible.
Mm. Mhm.
Check
Mhm.
off, hey, drink your water, right?
Right.
Walk
Right.
daily. Those are some of my daily habits that I
Mhm.
have on my habit tracker to make sure.
Mhm.
And then I will set up
Mhm.
weekly reminders also. I have a reminder to set up that I do my weekly goals check in with goals, budget,
Right.
whatever else it is, like writing, making sure that I do my weekly hours
Mhm.
that I committed to writing. So
Mhm.
those are great tools to use. If you are looking to lose weight,
Wonderful.
there are
Yeah.
other great apps.
Yeah.
There's Fit On
Yeah.
app, there's the Fitbit app, there
Right.
is My Fitness Pal. Like I can
Mhm.
go on, but those are
Yeah.
just to throw out there right now.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. You're just such a wealth of information. I'm
Oh,
glad
thank
maybe
you.
to
Thank
touch
you.
on some of those, right? And so as we wrap up, this show, Leslie, if someone is struggling with setting or achieving their goals, what's the first step they should take today? What advice would you give them?
I'm gonna say to pray.
Yeah.
Honestly, it seems so like I don't know if your audience was expecting me to like give you a list of stuff. Like it starts with discernment. It
Yeah.
really, really starts with discernment and
Yeah.
praying. You just have to have that relationship with God to know, God, is this really from you?
Mhm.
Is the timing
Right.
aligning with where I need to be? What do I need to, or
Mhm.
who do I need to become in order for me to fulfill what you are calling me to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes you have to do what I call these dangerous prayers, where you have to ask
Mhm.
God to break you, to
Yeah.
become the person that He's calling you to be, send you. And it's God, send me where I need to be, send me to the environment where I need to be to become the person that I need to be. And
Right.
it requires some dangerous prayers where you have to
It
step
does.
out of yourself, and you really have to, like, going back, we have to realize what is our mindset that is holding us back?
Right.
Because
Right.
9 out of 10 times, we're the ones that are delaying
Right.
this goal to
Right.
happen. And it
Yeah.
could be that we are not ready for it emotionally, spiritually, any of that. And
Yeah.
it just really is God's timing. So it
Yeah.
really just comes down to praying and
Mhm.
having that discernment from the Lord to
Mhm.
guide you and just trust Him.
Mhm. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I'm gonna tag on to that. A lot of the times my clients will ask me, "Stacy, what would you do? What do you think about this?" My first question to them is, "Have you taken it to the Lord in prayer?"
Mhm.
because he's got
Mhm.
the answers,
Yeah.
right? And so the second thing that I would recommend our audience to do is to contact you, Leslie,
Ah,
and
yes.
schedule a
See, I'm
consultation with
so bad
you.
at self-promotion.
Right.
So bad.
Right. Right. So,
And with everything that I was sharing,
yeah,
there is something that it is so important for people to seek a outside guide to help
yeah,
them. A
absolutely.
counselor, a therapist, a coach,
Coach.
because a lot of the things I hope your listeners learned something today. And
Yeah.
I learned all of this by finding guides that
Right.
helped me to speak into me reading books, listening to podcasts, paying for coaching,
Yeah.
paying for counseling. And
Mhm.
I took the time to invest in this so that I can learn this information. And if you are looking to say, I can't do this by myself, like I
Mhm.
need, I have several clients that I'm working with right now that
Mhm.
I am guiding them through. I'm actually doing a group coaching right now. And
Mhm.
with the group coaching, this is a different approach because you have accountability, not just with me, but by these
Right.
peers that are in this group. So we have
Yeah.
weekly check-in meetings. You are checking in, and we all are speaking of value to each other. So
I
it
like
is
that.
so important for you to find someone because you're
Mhm.
not meant to do it alone. You
No,
really
not at
aren't.
all.
God
Yeah.
created us to be in community, and
Mhm.
you just need to find your community. And even if it's just a coach to guide you along on whatever it is, if there's some
Mhm.
counseling that needs to be done, if there's some therapy work, if it's just getting in community with your local church, find how you can be in community with someone or a group of people that will help support you on your journey.
Amen, sister. I love
Amen.
that. I will include Leslie's website, which is joyfulorder.com. She was talking a little bit about her soap journal, and there's the link shop joyfulorder.com to get her journal. And also, I'll include the link to her scheduling calendar to go ahead and schedule that free 30-minute discovery call. You never know what questions she might ask that can help unlock some things for you. Leslie, it's been such a joy having you on the show. You're just such a wealth of information and resources. And I know that anyone that's watching or listening is going to walk away with so much to help them get started. And most importantly, too, I'm going to just tag team with you on that. And that is, on your journey, you're not meant to do it by yourself. So reach out to Leslie, consider her as a coach for whatever goals it is that you have, for yourself, and you're not quite sure how to get started. Invite the Lord into your life. If he's not already in your life right now, consider saying yes to him. He has all the plans laid out for you. He's just waiting for you to say yes so that he can journey along with you to achieve the plan and the purpose that he has for you. So again, Leslie, such a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you
Oh,
for
thank
being here.
you. Yes, we can chat forever, Stacy.
I know. I
I
know.
love that we have been connected this way because I've
Me
learned so
too.
much from you also, and I just hope that your audience has gotten something out of our messages.
Oh, I know they have,
Yes,
and I have as well. So you hit on so many different things, and I've learned some new things today. So thank you, Leslie. You are such a blessing. And I know you're a new friend, but I feel like I've known you forever. And so
yes,
I love it when the Lord puts people together where it's like, I feel like I've known her forever. And so
yes,
what a
yes.
blessing you are, not just to me, but to everyone that comes across your path and ends up working with you as well. And so
Thank
to
you.
everyone that's, been watching and listening, thank you so much for being here, and God bless you all.
Thank you.
You've been listening to True You Ministries with me, Stacy Echeverria. I'm a licensed pastoral counselor whose own journey has taught me the importance of having a safe place to discuss the harder issues of life. You can learn more about me and my felt desire to help people, much like yourself, who may be at a place of pain and confusion by calling me at 626-461-3344. That's 626-461-3344, or feel free to email me at info@trueyouministries.com. That email once again is info@trueyouministries.com. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and may God richly bless you.